Autumn heat, Donetsk and Vuhledar direction. While we were watching the offensive in the south and Lyman-Kupiansk axis, the Ukrainian defense forces suddenly started moving towards Donetsk airport. Quite unexpected and in need of observation, but nevertheless this section of the front is beginning to come to life. The advance of the AFU was recorded in the north of Opytne and in the settlement itself. It is known that there was a rather large enemy stronghold in the north, but today it is already under the control of the AFU. At the end of August there was another intensification of fighting in the Donetsk direction, and now we are already observing significantly increased activity of Ukrainian artillery and other means of fire. And if in the area of Vuhledar the active phase is just beginning to develop, in the Donetsk direction, the quiet carnival is taking on interesting contours. By yesterday evening, after 2 weeks of effective fire impact on the main defense circuit of Donetsk in the Donetsk airport area, radio technical reconnaissance and electronic warfare assets were destroyed. This can be observed even in innocent communities, and in quantities that inspire respect. Among other things, only last week there were 6 airstrikes on Donetsk with HARM anti-radar missiles, which is about 6 times more frequent than the average frequency of use of these means of destruction. And all this is happening against the background of hysterical attempts of Russians to capture Marinka, which, in principle, does not make any sense and generally does not pose a threat to the Ukrainian defense forces. While Marinka in terms of defensive fighting is one of the toughest on the entire front. The Russian brigade-level commander's heightened sense of problematization of the front requires attempts to become a bit of a hero, but this usually ends with the complete destruction of the enemy's sabotage groups. But there have already been real successes of the Ukrainian forces. And within the context of the highly stable front line around Donetsk up to the present day, these gains are more than significant, as each meter liberated here holds no less value than on the priority Tokmak direction. And it is interesting that from the Russian side there are practically no quality footage of the defeat of the Ukrainian forces in this direction for several weeks. But the Ukrainian armed forces are advancing. By the evening of yesterday, the Ukrainian forces actually eliminated a small but significant bulge near the village of Opytne, which opens a direct road to Donetsk airport. Having achieved tactical success to a depth of up to 2 kilometers, Ukraine improves the possibility of objective control over the northern borders of the city. This, if properly continued, will allow Ukrainian troops to increase activity along the main offensive line in the Starominivka area. And also, in case of critical problems in the Donetsk area, to reach important heights, after which the Russians will instantly have especially big problems in Donetsk itself, which if operational success develops in the Vuhledar direction, will mean only one thing: the risk of a major defeat. So far I can say that the dynamics, as for a few days, are quite good. But as I said earlier, it requires monitoring, as this is one of the most difficult areas.